And here we are again. We are on time. We are doing our 2 shows a week and being consistent, doing the thing. This is the Troy. Well, I'm Troy Neff, but this is the Outlaw Apostle Show. I almost said the Troy Neff Show, which
I
was
mean,
my radio show years ago, but this is the Outlaw Apostle Show. And I am the Outlaw Apostle. I am your host. Glad to be here, putting up another episode. The response has been good. We've slowly been getting subscribers, but they're happening, and I'm excited about it. We've been getting some comments. I've been trying to put some short clips that Leo, the producer, has been putting together. Leo, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yesterday put in a lot of work, and we got quite a few shorts for people today. So hopefully they enjoy those.
Yeah, some of them, I mean, they're all decent, but some like really, really good.
Yeah,
Like
there's definitely
some
a few
really
standout
good,
ones
some
for sure.
good stuff. And I'm excited about that and being able to put more content out there like this and really excited to just keep going with this.
Oh yeah, and just like we were talking right before this started, I mean, we're getting some music going in there. Hopefully, get some more effects as well. Make the experience a little bit better for the
Yes,
audience.
that's what we want. We just want to keep getting better and better. I want to keep getting better, of course. And so this show is a lot about testosterone. This show is going to be informational. This show is going to help men who have thought about maybe they have low T. And what I tell you to do, the very first step is to get tested. So I had a couple communications with clients, which is why I have my phone today, because I wanted to share some of these communications. And this particular client is somebody who was on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and decided he wanted a little bit more. And he came to me advice for consultation on doing more, and I helped him get started with his first ever cycle. And it's somebody I don't off the top of my head remember how old he is, but it's an probably easily above 35, 40 years old.
Okay.
Okay, not a young person doing their first cycle of just increasing the amount of testosterone
Does
that they
does
were
that
taking.
does that like give you some reminiscence from when you first started?
Yes, of course. And so here's what happened to him that he messaged me today is he went to get his yearly physical done and wasn't expecting any blood work. They weren't supposed to do blood work, I guess, but they did. And now that doctor wants him to stop all testosterone injections for a month and redo the blood work because she said it's a toxic level of testosterone. Oh my God. Like she's just making shit up. I mean, totally making something up. And let me
I was supposed to say maybe
probably
explain a little more.
prerequisite this is I'm not a doctor. You do not have to listen to me. If you prefer to listen to any doctor tell you whatever the fuck they want to tell you, then you go ahead and do that. But when it comes to testosterone, I do know my shit. And we're just going to put it at that for now. So, toxic level. Like for a first cycle, like the dude is pretty much perfect. Pretty much perfect where he should be. And of course, that's going to be above levels that would be they're going to be higher than the normal range, whatever that is, but it's going to be higher than the normal range. In fact, I think on his when I pulled it up, it didn't even say specifically what it was. Some of them will give you a specific number, and some of them it'll just say it's greater than 1500, and that's it. But it's probably low 2000s, is my guess, where it would be. And that would be typical of someone's levels in a first cycle. And everyone's different, could be slightly higher, slightly lower, because we process it differently. So everyone is a little bit different. And so he was a little worried about this, when should he stop, to get his levels down for another blood test. I basically said, fire her, not even think about like, this is just for this physical and also concerned about work, um, because the clinic is it's at a clinic his work owns. And look, they cannot pass along this information to your employer. This is not you being drug tested. This is not someone being drug tested for, opioids, for stimulants, cocaine, Adderall, things like that. When I was a union laborer, they could test us anytime they wanted and pull you aside and tell you to go piss.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. Anytime they wanted, they could do that. Because obviously we were doing dangerous work, being up in the air, doing different things. They don't want you stoned. They do not care if you're jacked. They're not doing that test. They do not do that. But I guess this was done simply because of physical, but they do not release that. HIPAA laws prevent them from releasing that any kind of information like that. In this case, about the testosterone. Now, if it had been a drug test and they were looking for those kinds of drugs, a random drug test, yeah, that's exactly it. You agreed to it. Being the employee, you signed on to that. Your union signed on to it, whatever, and they can do it and they will tell them. But in this case, talking about this, absolutely not. They cannot share that with them. And he feels great. He feels better than he's ever felt before. He's loving it. And I've just told that employers just they don't care about this. Most do not test for this because I have had law enforcement people that I consult with, even law enforcement. The only law enforcement that I've ever found out over the years that probably cannot do this and, do extra and they have to really go through a clinic, they just can't do it on their own, is like the FBI and maybe the Secret Service too. I don't know. But ones where they're going to actually, it's not even going to be a drug test. What they're going to do is they're going to give you a lie detector test and ask you questions about usage of various things. And there you go. So, but other than that, you don't have, if you're a felon, should I be given this information? If you're a felon, if you're on probation, if you're reporting to a probation officer, if you're dropping piss, they're not testing your testosterone. It's not one of the things they're doing.
I was gonna say, what kind of, why would there be a reason to even test for it? What would they be
They
looking
don't.
for? Yeah, exactly.
Well, who does it? Who does it? The school systems do it. You agree if you participate in sports.
Gotcha.
A number of school systems will do it because high school athletes are not allowed to use performance-enhancing drugs. But again, that shit's expensive. How much do you think they're spending on a particular fucking test? Do you think they're doing the strongest stringent testing? No, because it would be very, very, very
Costs them too much
expensive.
money, yeah.
Yes. Same for college, professional athletes. So, if you're in an event where it gets tested, if you're a competitive athlete of some sort, there may be some testing, but you'll know if it's a tested event or not. Same, I have clients that compete in CrossFit, serious CrossFit competitors.
They get tested.
Some do, some don't. It depends on the event. There you go. And trust me, the athletes know whether they're being tested or not. And it is what it is. Take it for what it's worth. Like I said, you got to put in the work. But this particular client, they want to cut his, so first they want him to stop for a month. Then they wanted to cut his dose from 200 ml to every 2 weeks, which is horrible, giving somebody a dose every 2 weeks. It's the worst way to prescribe testosterone, literally crashing someone.
You're going up and down, so
Way,
drastically.
way up and down because it has about an 8-day half-life. So like a good chunk of it is way out of your system by then. Horrible. So it absolutely not should only be done weekly, but at least split up into two doses weekly. And if he's only getting 200 milligrams every 2 weeks, that would be 100 milligrams a week or 50 milligrams twice a week, which means they're already low dosing him. Already low dosing him. The chance of I've had some guys that were doing 100 milligrams a week, but they were micro dosing, and actually he was doing 120 where his total testosterone level, there's total test and free test. His total testosterone level was like around 1050, which is solid. You want to be the high end of normal is 1,000 to 1,300.
You said the other one was called what? I'm sorry.
Free test.
And what is that?
Just two different ways of measuring it. One has the free test is actually probably a little bit more important, but it's not the number that people throw out the most often. It's just what's available is the free test. What's available for the body. So that's just a different number. So they test both of them. Sometimes some tests out there only test one number and not the other. So when I tell somebody to get tested, you do want your total and free and also your estradiol. And sometimes that's left off. That's your estrogen level. That's left off. And probably your red blood cell count, white blood cell count, hematocrit. There's a number of things that I give people that, these are the things that you kind of want to make sure are included on your test. Some are obviously more important than others, especially related to taking the testosterone. So totally horrible. And, so they wanted to drop him down to basically in half of that, which would have been 50 milligrams a week, 100 every 2 weeks, or 25 twice a week. It's just total ridiculous. And he's like freaking out. And look, his choice is simple. He can follow them. He can follow them and do what they would, or he can follow my instructions. He doesn't have to follow my instructions. Nobody does. But I will give people the information like I gave him. And I'll be sharing another story too about someone that I was helping today, two brothers, and give people information. I would love to be in the room with them when they're seeing the doctor and going over these tests. I really would love to be in the room because I would love to just ask the doctor questions that are really going to make them go, "Ooh," they can't give a good, legit answer. And I'll relay that here in just a second, what I mean by that. So here you go. He feels absolutely amazing. He doesn't want to go back to feeling like shit. He wants his testosterone level when he is back off of the cycle and back on the testosterone replacement therapy. He really wants testosterone optimization therapy to be the best that he can, not mediocre. He wants to be his best and feel like he does. And so, just looking at his blood work, the only thing I saw was, a couple of levels that maybe sometimes it's a good idea for people doing this to take a fish oil supplement, a premium grade fish oil supplement. Okay, omega-3, and I get mine from Costco. I get a premium fish oil supplement from Costco. Very affordable, good. It's a good product. Third-party tested and everything. That is because some people's blood will thicken more than others. So it's just to keep the blood thinner, okay? And then the other thing is donating blood. And that's just a good thing, period. I recommend everybody donate blood. Why? Because it's a good humanitarian thing to do. It's just you're just being a good fucking human being. They never have enough blood, ever. And they always need more. So why not do something good for yourself that's healthy every 3 or 4 months and donate, kind of refresh things a little bit, right? And do something good for humanity. It's a win-win. That's what we call that,
Take
right?
2 boxes.
Real simple. That's only two simple things he needs to do, and he'll be fine and not worry. But I was able to give him that information. And then the other information is this whole idea about what is normal. And I have alluded to that, I believe, already in other episodes, but we haven't really gone into it strictly. But here is a good example of someone, and I'm going to pull theirs up, where I talked to his brother today, and even for himself, he's asking, like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, what's up with this? Because when his brother's levels that he sent me, I think it was 265. 268. Let me put the readers back on again. Just be patient with me. Be patient with the old man. All right, so 268. And then this is kind of crazy. This is a really, really low number for what is considered normal, right? It's 240. The normal range of Rochester Regional. That's who did the lab work. Okay. Is 240 to 950. 240 is low, like low. When you start getting under 300, that's low.
I was gonna ask, what would the range typically look like?
Well,
Because
that's a great question. We don't know.
Yeah, because you said it differs depending on person or per doctor.
It's different depending on the lab. Every lab had, so his level was 268.
Okay.
If we send his blood to 4 different labs, this is exactly how I explained it to them. If we send his blood work to 4 different labs, all 4 are going to come back that his level's at 268. That's going to be the only true fucking thing that comes back for 100% for sure. What's not true is this normal range. All 4 labs are likely to have a different normal range, a different low number and a different high number. And that low number might be anywhere from 200 to a little over 300. And the high number could be anywhere from maybe just under 800 to around 1,200, depending on the lab. So my question is, where's the science in that? Why is there not a standard? We're talking about medicine here. We're talking about science.
Yeah,
We're talking about doctors. Why isn't there a set standard? Why does every lab have a different one? And most people don't know that. And that's what I want to ask the doctor, Leo.
So, quick question.
Sure.
So, what is it possible to drop below or above those numbers?
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
in his case,
if it's not within their range at the lab that you're at, then you're just getting misinformation at that point?
no, what you're getting is what do those numbers actually mean? Because here's the thing. So in his case, because he's at 268 and the low number's 240, some doctors will deny him testosterone replacement therapy.
Gotcha.
Good doctors will not. They'll say, well, this is the range of the lab, but you're at the low end of this particular normal range, but you do have these symptoms, and he is a younger guy, but he's also, and I'm not giving any names, he also has some other issues that don't always come up, but I have said can be a symptom. It's not always, maybe your shit works great, but sometimes it doesn't work so good. And that can be a symptom of low T. And it's a symptom he's experiencing. So he has symptoms. He's at the low end, even based on this range. And then they don't want to give it to you. And then they're going to say, well, you're younger too. We don't want to give it to you yet. How is that any different than thyroid, which is a hormone? Does age really matter? If somebody's body is not producing enough hormone of that particular hormone, thyroid,
I mean, just
it
like
doesn't
we mentioned
matter.
in the other episode, like
It's no different than, everybody's body. Obviously, people who are diabetics, it obviously can be done with diet. It can be your weight all of that influences it. Type 2 diabetes is curable, type 1 is not. But how our bodies respond to insulin, people are different. Everybody's different, right? No different than this. So age doesn't matter. He's experiencing the symptoms. He's not out of shape. In fact, he's actually in really good shape. But what he has to do to be in really great shape that he's in is brutal. Like, he is just dedicated, like on another level. He's not doing 100%. This dude's doing 110%. And that's what it takes, because he's fighting his hormones. It's very hard to get the results that you deserve and you're trying to get when you're trying to be healthy if your hormones are out of whack, or just live life in general. It just is hard. In this case, not hard, right? But for sure.
That was way too funny.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It was not planned, but totally true. Totally true. But yeah, like that, that's not cool. That's not cool for him to be denied that. And his brother, who introduced him to me, and we did a three-way call, for him, he's on the lower end too. He was at 340 something. Yeah. So that's not great either. 340 is not great.
So
he was at 345. And the last time he went, the normal range was 340 to 750, or from the lab that he went to, their normal range was 340 to 750.
So is science just not like agreed on something? So like the labs can get like a little bit of freedom to it, or how does
look,
it work?
I can't tell you that.
Gotcha.
I don't know why they allow that or why that's okay. You would think urologists, they have their own number that's separate from the labs that they consider a normal range. It's really crazy. There should be a set standard. The problem is, things change. What's normal has changed. Men have changed. Men do not, and they know this for a fact, that men do not have the same testosterone levels as men 80 years ago. They just don't. Things, just
Evolution.
evolution. Evolution. Sure. Absolutely. It doesn't mean it's not important, though. It is still important to men's health. And men feel bombarded. The different videos, some of the shorts that you've posted have really hit home to some folks. And
I think those are the ones that are like most commented on.
yeah, well, they feel it because they've experienced it. They've experienced it from these medical professionals that they've went and talked to, that they've trusted, that they're relying on, and they're not getting good answers. And men in general feel more attacked today. We just do. Now, look, we're not victims. No good man should ever play a motherfucking victim. And this man certainly won't ever play a victim. Not even I don't even blame my, almost ex-wife, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what we want to call her at this point, but
You
my
can call it
almost
whatever you want,
ex-wife.
to be honest with you.
Yeah. Don't lead me down that path.
Nah. Ex-wife's good. Ex-wife is good.
Just say, yeah. And I did hire an attorney the other day.
Maybe
I
we
feel
should
good
ask
about
him.
that. But, I don't even blame her. Because if I blame you for anything, if I blame anything else, circumstances, blame my parents, blame how I was raised, blame a teacher, blame anything else, I'm giving that thing the power. And I will never fucking give you the power. I want the power. That way I control it. If someone did something to me, or I feel like they did something to me, well, what role did I play in that? Did I allow that? And it's not about what anybody does to you. It's not even about how life happens to you. It's always how you respond to it. Always how you respond. And victims don't respond. They're just looking for sympathy. That you're just being weak. And I don't want you to be weak. I want you to be strong. All men, I want you to be strong, right? But that's the way men are feeling today. We're feeling attacked that, Jesus, I'm going to go down this road. So I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but it is in your future, pal. Let me tell you. There will be a relationship. There will be an end to that relationship, and you're going to be a narcissist. The most overused word that women use today towards their exes is calling men narcissist. Well, I can tell you, I've been called one. I'm egotistical. I'm arrogant. I'm an asshole. I'm a lot of motherfucking things. Do you know what I'm not? I'm not a narcissist. Do you know why I'm not a narcissist? Because I actually know what the motherfucking definition of a narcissist is. Now, some men might be narcissists. They might be out there. But that's not generally, that's the most overused word and used wrongly that in today's, society. Yeah. Just I just laugh every time I see it. Like, yeah, sure. That's coming. Yeah, that'll be it. But no,
once a man starts doing something for themselves, he becomes a narcissist.
For sure. It doesn't mean we don't care about other people. You know what? I don't care about all people.
And we shouldn't have to.
You don't have
we
to.
can treat everyone with respect.
Absolutely.
But we don't have to
care about all people. And you don't have to care about your feelings or somebody else's feelings. I'm so tired of people and their feelings. It's so much deeper than that. And I hope we can get to a place where we can more in depth talk about that and what it really means and why it really doesn't matter. And it's not just a sticker, that it's something really important to understand why the feelings don't matter, because sometimes shit just has to get done anyways. It does not, when it's coming at you, it doesn't matter that you didn't get good sleep. It doesn't matter. Fuck that feeling. You still have shit to do and you're expected to do it. And man, that can feel heavy sometimes. I know that, guys, but we have to do it anyways. We have to. That's the part of being a man that we really need to do, and what still a majority of women still actually want, whether they say so or not. They really do. They want that.
And I can tell
you're leading.
I was definitely feeling that this past week, getting little to no sleep, grinding it out, trying to figure everything out. But you know what? Here we are, and things are looking good.
Dude, I am overwhelmed and flooded. I will tell you today, I love my staff. I have great people who work with me, but I have one person who's on vacation, and I have another person who had asked for today off. Now, do you think this morning that I remembered that both of them were going to be off at the same time?
Assuming no.
Fuck no. Dude, I got a ton of shit going on. And that totally changed my whole day today.
The game plan changed.
Changed everything. But did it matter? Did how I feel matter?
Absolutely not.
No. People were still counting on me to do things, and I spent a good chunk of my day doing shit that I did not absolutely want to do, and that I pay other people to do because I do not want to do it. Didn't matter. I wasn't I won't say unhappy. I wasn't thrilled about it, but it didn't affect my happiness or You know what? I, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because one of the people that I listen to quite a lot is, and I've shared with you, is Alex Hormozy. And I think anyone can benefit from listening to Alex, especially if you're an entrepreneur of just about any type. But talking about happiness and joy and happiness, happiness is not a destination. It's not a place you get to and just stay there. And I think joy, he uses the word joy. I think it's a much better word where you experiencing joy and have and enjoy a particular moment or a particular time with the people you're with. And then the other times, just because it's just life. It's not happiness or sadness. It's not either. It just is what it is. It's just part of what you do every day. And for me, that's okay because for me, it's actually intertwined that I get to do what I love to do and I love doing it all the time. So I don't really have a off time like that. There's no off button to the things that I do. And I don't mind doing this at 7 or 8 o'clock at night simply because it allows me to do other things. And I'm trying to organize. And as we grow this consulting, I am trying to get other people to do other things for me and we have some other steps to take that will free up my time to spend what's most importantly is the consulting with the clients and consulting again mainly about their health and what they're doing related to hormones and so that they can understand and when they do go to a doctor or a clinic like we talked about here that they know what to ask and know what to expect and they know how they can put that doctor and I love being able to arm people to do that, to put that doctor on the spot to prove exactly what I said. I can tell them exactly what's going to happen and what's going to be said.
Would you say it's okay to challenge your doctor about
It's okay
your
to
health?
challenge your doctor. I mean, and you know where else I experienced that was, and many people will and have experienced it, and just like I have, is if you're older, likely older, like me, you maybe had a parent that was in the hospital, had a parent that, needed to get some procedure. They didn't have the ability to make the decision for themselves anymore. And you were the one that had to be a part of that decision making. And before my mom died, I wish I could remember what she had, but she went in for a particular procedure. The procedure went well, but she ended up getting an infection, and this infection was horrible, horrible. And it's really gross to describe, but basically, they tried a bunch of things, and a nurse saved us, a nurse. They said, well, there's this procedure they do at the university hospital where they can do such and such you know and we brought that up to the doctor, but we didn't know about it. The doctor didn't present it to us as an option. The nurse told us about it. And then I took that information when the family was gathered around and we had the doctor in there and we said, well, what about this? And he goes, yeah, but you have to have done this first and this first and this first, or tried these 3 other things, all of which had been done. And then he said, well, yeah, we can do that then. And so they moved her to the university hospital and they did this procedure and it worked. And if it hadn't worked, she probably would have died sooner, instead of months later, not related to this particular situation. But we challenged the doctor because we got good information from this nurse that we wouldn't have had any other way. But it was okay to challenge the doctor. It is okay.
It's crazy that it only took one person to give out one piece of information to change a lot.
Change everything, dude. Change everything. And sometime we won't be eating when we talk about this story, that's for sure. But I'll explain more about it now. I'll find out. I don't know if my dad remembers the name of what it was or not. But anyways, that wasn't the point. The point was just having the information and feeling like you could ask and put them on the spot. And if you don't have that information, just being willing to speak up and say, well, what other things or what things do we have to try before we can do something that might be considered more experimental, whatever it is. You have a whole lot of people out there that really think these doctors are gods. And if you don't believe me, there are people still wearing fucking masks. Isn't that proof? Because they obviously heard something. They are so scared about what they heard that today they're still wearing a mask left over from COVID, which is insane. And still wearing it outside where it never fucking mattered. And I'm not a COVID denier. I just think we handled it all wrong. That's all. We should have never shut down. Nothing.
Very wrong.
Right. Well, when you take the outside or the inside and move it outside and go back inside outside, what do I mean by that? So you had restaurants in Detroit, Michigan, build these bubbles because it's fucking winter, okay, so that people could be outside in these bubbles that were enclosed. And so you're back inside outside. That's insane, man. But people did it to survive, to keep their businesses from just, and well, some people didn't. A lot of businesses, it put businesses out.
A lot.
Yeah. A lot.
There's a short, I can't remember if it was at the end of 2020 or the beginning of 21 maybe. I'm really bad with my time frames, but there was definitely because I remember I was working at the dispensary at the time, and there was just so many people coming in saying like they're just losing like pretty much all their business, and within like a month or two they would all pretty much be out of business completely. And it was heartbreaking to hear, honestly, like all these different like, you know, smaller businesses trying to,
business is hard enough as it is.
That's what I'm saying. And something out of their control just ruins it all.
Out of their control. And unconstitutional with rules, and people are just going to follow like sheep. Yeah, I don't know about that. And you don't have to follow me. You don't have to listen to me. You can find out for yourself. There's good information out there. There's bad information out there. You have to learn how to sift through it, or find somebody that you trust to sift through it.
Oh, talking about that, I was going to ask you about the Mr. Dr. Seed. What's the update on that? Are you planning to go to Vegas, or are you gonna...
No, that's tomorrow. And so there is, you can join the conference online. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the online.
Gotcha. Okay.
So no Vegas, but it's okay. So basically, again, somebody that I talked to, a couple clients today that were given bad information, that weren't told and not being helped. And when somebody feels like shit, and they feel like shit long enough, and many men that I've talked to and helped have dealt with this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, if they're going to do it on their own. And if they're going to do it on their own, there's a right way to do it. That's all. It's not for me to judge people doing it on their own, self-medicating, whatever you want to call it. I'm not telling people they should do that. I do it. And I know what I'm doing when it comes to testosterone, when it comes to human growth hormone, when it comes to peptides. I know what I'm putting in my body. I know what risks, if any, that I'm taking. And I know what my level of health is. And I know that I'm easily in the top 5%. And in my age group, I'm probably in top 2%.
How much longer do you believe you will continue using?
Till I'm 95 and dead in the grave.
Do you think the amount that you'll take will differ, or is it a pretty common thing to like keep it pretty even throughout?
It'll just depend on how my body changes and doing the testing that we tell people to do. But once you're dialed in, you don't need to do, blood work every 2 months or 3 months. You might do blood work every 6 months. It just depends on, again, what your experience is. And if you're dialed in, if you're feeling good, if the results are good, if when you did your last test, it came back well.
So for someone just starting off, how
Sure.
often would you recommend getting the blood work done?
Well, initially, you're going to get your initial blood work done. And then 6 to 8 weeks after your initial blood work, 6 to 8 weeks after starting the testosterone optimization therapy, you're going to want to do it again to see what the differences are from before starting to now that you're on, and to see if you might need other things. And some clinics will give people other compounds from the very beginning, and that's just totally wrong. Just totally wrong. You do not want to give someone an anti-estrogen, an estrogen blocker from the get-go without knowing how their body is going to respond to just the testosterone initially by itself. And then you make that judgment. You should not take medicines maybe because is not a reason that something could happen or happens to less than 5 or 10% of people that take it. If you're one of those 5 or 10%, then take it then. When you identify it, that would be, I told somebody it would be like putting on a cast before you break your leg, right? Like, why would you do that? You're trying to, because there's the potential. If you do this, you're on a dirt bike, you're going to jump a hill, there's a potential you could break your arm.
You're already leaning towards it going bad.
Well, not only that, yeah, that's not good, but just because it could happen, so what are you going to do? You can put a cast on your arm right now because it could happen? That's just stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. So to take a medication because something may happen now, if it happens 90% of the time, maybe that's different. But we're talking that's not how it works with side effects. It's a small number, a small percentage. A side effect of that 10% of people experience is quite a good number. Okay? And at a certain number, they're not even going to approve it. This is not good because too many people respond this way and it's not good. They just don't approve that medication. They don't approve that drug. And sometimes they approve drugs like the vax. You can think what you want about that. But I can tell you, we know a hell of a lot more about testosterone than we do the vaccine. A lot. And how people respond, and the benefits, and the risks. You're not going to die from the testosterone, but you could change your life. And I hope that you do.
Just a weird question.
Sure.
Did your intake of testosterone change during the COVID time area? Because I know there was like a lot of like health, obviously, like you want to like make sure you're not doing this or doing that.
Not at all. And I was out in it. Nothing fazed me. I didn't stop doing anything unless I was stopped for other reasons, but I didn't stop doing what I did or going where I went. And, I was one of those people that got scowled at because I didn't have my face mask on in the grocery store, or whatever. Or then I started writing on the masks. I put messages on there, just being funny because it was just stupid. Not one mask saved one life. I don't care. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. It just didn't. But we did hurt a lot of people. Instead of telling people what the right thing to do over 2-3 years would have been start walking outside your home. They sent you home. Start walking 20 to 30 minutes a day. Start eating whole foods. Get your diet in check. I'm not even telling you to be on a particular diet. I'm not even telling you how many calories to eat. I'm just simply telling you to stop eating shit, eat healthier foods, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, and meat. Eat meat.
I think that was another question that I've had, just because going over all the videos is what has your diet looked like over the years? Like because I know you mentioned that you're pretty like heavy on the alcohol when like right before you started, and then because you did start a little bit late into the testosterone and stuff like that. What did your diet look like, and then what does it look like now? How has it changed at all, or has it stayed about the same?
No, not at all. The one constant in my diet is always meat and protein. That's the number one constant in my diet.
Low protein.
Yes. But back in I believe it was the 90s, later 90s, there was a period of time where low fat was a thing. So it was high protein, carbs, but like very, very, very little fat. Very, very little fat of any kind. You just got rid of it. And I had success with it. It was not easy to have success with it, but I did. And I've done, keto, I've done Atkins, I've done the more of like the Mediterranean style diet. And I've had success with many diets, but I felt differently. How good I felt on those diets was different. And I was just asked that on Monday when we were out to dinner with a group of people, and my friend's wife asked me about my experience on carnivore. And I had a great experience on carnivore. And I had such a good experience on carnivore that you'd probably ask why I'm not doing carnivore now if it was so good. And the answer is I like Mexican. That's my answer.
I love the corn tortillas, the flour tortillas.
I love the chips, dude. Ooh. It's the chips.
Yeah,
it's the chips. But I will definitely do carnivore at different times. I will do that again. It was I felt absolutely fantastic. It's not for everyone, but it was for me. And right now I basically do high protein. And high protein, you're looking at 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight or more. And so that's where I try to focus. I try to keep my carbs on the lower end and also moderate fat too. I'm not doing, the higher fat, but, good healthy fats are in my diet,
So what's a cheat meal look like?
I don't really have a cheat meal like that necessarily, because I'm going to have a burger. I'm going to cook a burger on my grill, and it's probably going to be bison. I love bison meat. Right. Yeah. So I'm probably going to cook some bison on the grill, and I'm going to cut up some slices of onion, some really, really good cheese, probably melted on it or on the side. Maybe some pickles, a little lettuce, but I'm not going to have a bun. There's not going to be any bun. Okay. And I'm not going to have mayonnaise, fat calories. That's not going to be it. I might have a little A1 with my burger, or I might have a little bit of ketchup and mustard mixed together that I dip it into a little bit. So I do use some condiments, but I try to be smart with the condiments as far as calories go, and not just be stupid.
That's where calories will definitely sneak up on you.
You can. Absolutely, you can do that. That same thing can happen with dressings. You think you're eating a healthy salad, and you're killing yourself with the calories from the dressing. And so playing and finding out which low-calorie dressings taste good is a thing. And that might be it. I might have a salad, a truly good, healthy salad with the burger protein that I make. Yeah. And some people might consider that burger a cheat meal. It's not. What's a cheat meal about high quality protein meat?
And a bunch of vegetables.
Yeah, and fish. Well, and I'm just not a big vegetable person.
Gotcha.
So I might have just a little bit, or very moderately, I might bake and eat 10 to 15 tater tots or something like that as my carb.
Tots. Oh, yeah.
Same could be with a very small baked potato as well.
Potato in any form is just it's amazing.
Rice, I tend to, especially if I'm at home, I tend to use the cauliflower rice
Okay.
with the things. Yeah, so that works out pretty well. I just try to be smart, again, eating healthy things. Now, I'm big on fruits,
Okay.
huge on fruits, and most of the fruits that I'm eating are low sugar fruits. So it's going to be your strawberries, your blueberries, blackberries. It's going to be your berries. I might have a little bit of grapes here and there. Well, I'll give you a good example. The other day, I had a craving and I wanted something sweet.
That was my next
I was
question.
like, fuck. I'm on the road. I had to stop. I picked up maybe a Coke Zero and I picked up two things. It was ridiculous what it cost, but I didn't care. But I picked up a thing of
Jerky.
grapes.
Oh, okay.
But not you got to be careful with jerky. You got to look at the fucking package on jerky. There's a lot of jerky that has a lot of added sugar. So it depends on the brand. So you think you're doing good by picking up the jerky, but you got to be willing to look at the labels. So I've always been a label reader.
Have
Now,
you tried Mexican jerky? Carne seca.
what?
Have you had carne seca? It's beef jerky, but it's made in Mexico. It's like dried out, really thin. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to
You're
bring
gonna
you
have
some.
to bring me
I'm
some.
gonna have to bring you some.
I told you, man. Like Mexican is my
Oh, you're gonna love it. If you
second ethnicity.
so, do you like beef jerky? Are you a beef jerky
No,
person?
I like beef jerky.
Okay,
Of course.
all right. We're
Sure,
gonna bring you
sure,
some. We're
sure,
gonna
of
have you try
course.
some stuff.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, jerky and or any good, type of little meat that you can do with some cheese and maybe a little bit of green apple. And that's what was in the other package was a little bit more grapes, just a handful, and some cheddar cheese and some green apple slices.
Gotcha.
And then the rest were grapes. But, were the grapes great? No, but it was healthier than what I would have grabbed if I hadn't grabbed that.
That leads to my next question. So, like snacks, sweets, ice
And
cream.
it doesn't mean you can never have that stuff. Of course, I enjoy a dessert. Absolutely. But I plan for it.
Gotcha.
Do you understand what I mean? I plan for it in my calories and everything throughout the day, even though I don't track calories. I've done this long enough
You have a
that I have
mental
a good,
idea
good mental idea and stepping on the scale. And I can share with people how to do that it can be really, really effective. So yeah, I mean, look, being in shape, I don't have to have an 8-pack or a 6-pack, but having some ab definition is definitely good for me and it's good for my business. And when I put my journey to competing on TikTok as I progressed, man, my business got better. Everything went up. More views, same thing happened when I did 75 hard, and was showing the results of doing that. When I put that stuff up and doing that all of that stuff was good for my business. And because again, why? Because really, do you want to follow somebody who's actually done shit, or somebody who just talks the shit? And there's a lot of people who talk the shit. So it's very, very hard. I have a very difficult time seeing people with, trainers that look like garbage. Like, dude, how about you train yourself first before you train someone else? It's just my personal viewpoint. Why would I take advice from someone that's never done it? Like, oh, I know. I posted a picture about something else one time. And here's what I posted a picture of. I don't know if it was a VW. It wasn't a great car. It wasn't a shitty car. It was an okay car. All right. And it wasn't a piece of crap. It looked like it was taken care of, but they had this big sign in their back window, huge, took up the whole window. It must have been some type of SUV or smaller version of that. And it talked about, there was some phone number and creating generational wealth. I posted, asked people what they thought. Like, really, are you going to take generational wealth advice from somebody like this. You're going to pull the information off. This is not like hiring a landscaper who has the landscaping business or they wrap their trucks. It's not like that. Okay, generational. This person isn't generationally wealthy. I can't tell you how to make $100 million. I've never made $100 million. How could I tell you how to make it? I could tell you how to make $1 million because I've done it. I've made $1 million in a year. I could tell you how to make it. I can't tell you how to make 100 million. Maybe someday I can, but right now I want to make 10 million. That's what I want. That's the next step. That's the next goal. Not, 100, it's 10. Well, it'd be great to get goals. Well, yeah. Well, I think what I do, other people can do. Honestly, I really do. I want to give people hope who are older that maybe put their dreams on a shelf and they've just been grinding out life, man. And I want to help them brush that shit off, shake that shit off, get back on and say, you know what? I'm not fucking done yet. I still have some time. I can still go after this. And again, it all starts with me, and why it starts with me in the gym and my health, because if I take care of that stuff, the other stuff is good too. Like you can be John Daly and be a great golfer. And I love John Daly. I love me some John Daly. But it's also good to be Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods brought fitness to the PGA as a lifestyle. It was nothing bad about being a great golfer and also being very fit. You can be a really good golfer and not be fit. But it's not a bad thing to be fit. And maybe you might have a little bit better chance too. Because which one had more success? Now, John's more fun. John's the guy you want to go to the bar with, hang out with, hear stories from. He's going to be the dude. Tiger might tell you stories about horse. And I can't believe I just said that. Because I love Tiger. I don't feel like I don't give a fuck who he fucks. Who he was banging. I don't care. I totally respect everything he's done. He's human. He's human, man.
I feel like people forget
fucking
that.
Human.
People get a little bit of fame and
oh my God.
They become
how dare they? How dare he cheated on his wife? Maybe his wife stopped sucking his dick. I don't know.
We got to look at all the variables. You can't leave everything out. There's as they say, two sides of a story.
Yes, there is. And then there's the truth. Whatever. That is totally off the rails, man. We had a good show going here on testosterone and totally went off. John Daly. Fucker, I love that fat dude. His beard now and his crazy pants. Because I'd wear those pants. I would. I'd wear the pants John Daly wears on the golf course. I totally would do that because I just think that's funny as shit.
Well,
just having fun.
Now that we're off topic anyways.
Yeah, go ahead.
When's the last time you went golfing?
I couldn't even tell you.
Couldn't tell you.
It's been a long time.
Wow. You plan on going back into the golfing?
Yes, I do. And
Okay.
I keep saying that. And it's kind of like this podcast.
Yeah.
I kept saying I was going to do a podcast, and it never happened. And
Hey,
now
but
look
hey,
at
here
it
we
now.
are. We are.
Look at it now. It's
episode
happening.
5.
Episode 5. Episode 5.
We are almost. What was our goal? We said
20.
20.
20 was the first goal.
Oh my!
We get past 20, man. We are going to kill it.
25% there.
Yeah. Pretty cool. And I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being on this journey with me and joining me. And it's kind of cool. We get to experience this together and learn
I think
about
that's the best
this.
part.
Yeah,
Is
it
that
is.
we're doing this together, and it's not gonna be perfect, but we're slowly
It's
making
okay.
it better. Slowly making it better. And one of these days, it's gonna be the best show on YouTube. I'm gonna say it right now. One of these days, it's gonna be the best show on YouTube.
Well, the goal is to be as good as we can be and grow this to whatever we grow it to. And it just starts with starting. And it just shows how hard starting is, and that we put things off because of different feelings and how we feel about something or what we think somebody else thinks about us or what we're doing, and we hold ourselves back. And now we're not doing that here. We're actually just putting it out there and doing it. So we're gonna leave it there because we kind of went off the rails, but it was all good.
It was a great episode. I loved it.
Well, it was fun, and that's important to me too, to have fun doing this and just share. I'm just sharing. I don't have a script. I never had a script. I remember I used to upset a lot of radio people sometimes when they wanted scripts. I'm like, I don't have one. I don't have one. You know where my script is? Right in here. It's in my heart. I have some ideas of things I want to talk about or things I want to share about. And I just want it to be real. Just like when I'm talking to you in person, this is how it would be hanging out with me. I'm going to say some crazy shit sometimes and we're going to laugh and have a good time. And that's good. So join us again for the next episode. Like and subscribe to this one. Share it. Invite other people to listen. That we're just going to be some crazy. If there's something, a particular thing related to testosterone replacement therapy, doing cycles that you would like us to highlight on an episode, please drop that in the comments too, and we'll try to do that and maybe make a clip of this so that people know we want them to do that. That would be good. But thank you for joining us. Troy Neff, the Outlaw Apostle. This was the Outlaw Apostle Show. I'm the fucking guy.